It was supposed to be the season opener of the year. Cowboys versus Eagles. Primetime lights. A rivalry older than most of us. And just as petty, a matchup that promised fireworks, memes, and maybe even a little blood on the field. But what no one expected was that the game would spiral into a viral scandal before halftime. And at the center of it, not some unknown rookie. Not a hot-headed linebacker. No, it was Dak Prescott himself. Let's set the scene. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Fourth quarter. Tension is thick enough to slice with dull Gatorade lid. Jalen Carter and Dak Prescott exchange words at the line of scrimmage. You can't hear what they're saying, but the body language? Oh, it says plenty. Carter is jawing. Dak is grinning. And then asterisk at asterisk happens. From a first angle, it looks like a clear-cut violation. Jalen Carter, eyes locked on Prescott, spits. Not near him. Not past him. On him. The replay drops, Twitter implodes, and the NFL wastes no time ejecting Carter from the game. Scandal contained? Not even close. Because by Monday morning, new footage drops, and this time, it's not just Carter in the frame. Another angle, high-def and unforgiving, shows Dak Prescott moments before the spitting incident. He spits too, not at Carter per se, but near him, right on the turf. And then he smiles, nods, like he knew exactly what he was doing. Suddenly, the narrative flips. The guy who was a victim, now he's looking a little less innocent. Was it just a coincidence? A bad habit at the worst possible time? Or was it calculated? A deliberate act of baiting, masked as casual body language? The NFL, try and play damage control in 4K resolution, does what it always does when things get too complicated for clean headlines. It compromises. Carter already got his punishment. But now, Prescott gets his. A one-game suspension. Official reason? Unsportsmanlike conduct. And just like that, the league's golden boy becomes public enemy #4. Cowboys fans are furious. Eagles fans are smug. Neutral fans? They're just here for the drama. Popcorn in hand. But this isn't just about one suspension. It's about everything underneath it. Let's talk about that Jason Kelce tweet. And the truth shall set you free. 6 words. No tags. No explanations. But everyone knew exactly what he meant. It hits like a pipe bomb in the discourse. Suddenly, every sports show, podcast, and comment section is dissecting frame-by-frame footage like it's a Zapruder film. Did Dak initiate it? Was Carter reacting? Was Kelce backing his teammate or calling out a cover-up? Nobody knows. But everybody has an opinion, and that's the power of perception. In today's NFL, truth is a matter of angles. One camera makes you a victim. Another makes you a villain. And in the case of Dak Prescott, the face of America's team, the fall from grace is steep and messy. This isn't a helmet-to-helmet hit or a blown call. This is something primal. Spitting, the universal sign of disrespect. The kind of thing that transcends stats and strategy. It's emotional warfare. The one act that doesn't just challenge your skills. It challenges your humanity. And that's why the fallout has been so nuclear. Because Dak wasn't just suspended. He was rebranded. From the polished leader who kept calm under pressure to the guy who maybe, just maybe, baited another man into snapping on national TV. Now, every move he makes is scrutinized. Every sideline smirk, every eye roll, every mic'd up moment. It's all being dissected through this new lens. Is this who he really is? Or is this just who the NFL wants you to think he is? And let's not ignore the league's role in all this. Their ruling tried to strike a balance. A slap on the wrist that says, we saw that, without fully admitting, we messed up the first call. But it's not working. Instead, it's exposed the NFL's uncomfortable relationship with nuance. The inability to hold two truths at once. That Carter did spit on someone. And that maybe he was provoked. That Prescott did smile and spit, but maybe it was harmless. And yet, both got punished. Just not equally. So now, everyone's picking sides. Cowboys versus Eagles? That's old news. Now it's context versus consequence. intent versus impact. And caught in the middle is a quarterback who spent his whole career trying to play the right way, only to learn that sometimes the right way doesn't matter at all. Because in this league, reputation is as fragile as it's curated. And Dak Prescott just learned that the hard way. So now you've got Dak Prescott, suspended, sidelined, and suddenly seeing his carefully maintained face of the franchise image start to slip like a helmet on a busted chin strap. And here's the wildest part. It wasn't a dirty hit. It wasn't a blown call. It wasn't even trash talk. It was spit, literal spit, one of the most ancient, primal forms of disrespect. And now the entire NFL universe is debating intent like it's a Supreme Court case. Did Dak mean it? Was it just unfortunate timing? Was Carter the aggressor? Was Dak smirking because he knew Carter would snap? Welcome to the NFL in 2025, where camera angles are weapons, social media is a courtroom, and public opinion flips faster than a cornerback on a double move. Let's talk impact, because this wasn't just about Dak. No. This shook the Cowboys' entire foundation. You think Micah Parsons is thrilled to lose his QB for a game that actually mattered? You think C.D. Lamb is excited to take reps with the backup over a technicality wrapped in a PR disaster? And let's not even talk about Jerry Jones. Because if there's one thing that man hates more than losing, it's losing while being embarrassed on national television. Sources, meaning Twitter and people with suspiciously vague usernames, say that the Cowboys front office is deeply disappointed with how the league handled the situation. Translation, they're pissed. But they can't say it out loud without starting a war. Because here's a tightrope. If they defend Dak too hard, they risk justifying bad optics. If they hang him out to dry, they risk losing him completely. And Dak, he's no longer just a quarterback. He's the symbol of control, of class, of composure. Or at least, he was. Now he's the headline. And that changes everything. Meanwhile, over in Philly, they're eating this up. The Eagles' locker room has never been short on swagger. But this is fuel. This is bulletin board gold. Carter may have been ejected, but now Dak's the one serving a suspension. To them, that's vindication. Jason Kelce's tweet? That wasn't just a vibe. That was a declaration. The truth shall set you free. Please. That was Kelce standing on the roof shouting, "We told you so." And while Kelce is a future Hall of Famer with a retirement looming like a comeback album, his voice carries. What he says gets echoed in press rooms, on radio shows, and in the minds of millions who already hate the Cowboys with every fiber of their being. It's not just a rivalry anymore. It's personal. But let's zoom out even more, because this isn't just about one game or even one season. This is about the NFL's identity crisis. We're living in an age where everything is content. Every mic'd up moment is memeable. Every sideline glance becomes a TikTok theory. Every controversy is algorithm candy. So when Dak Prescott spits and smiles and gets suspended, it's not just a penalty. It's a narrative collapse. And the NFL hates when a clean-cut, All-American quarterback gets caught playing messy. Because Dak was supposed to be the safe one. Not flashy like Mahomes. Not divisive like Rodgers. Not wild like Lamar. He was a dependable guy. The corporate dream. The quarterback you could put on every graphic, in every commercial, and never worry about explaining to a sponsor later. But now they're scrubbing footage. They're running PR drills in backrooms. They're drafting statements that say everything and nothing. Because they know, if they lose Dak, they lose a brand pillar. And make no mistake, football isn't just about winning anymore. It's about optics. And this optic? This is the one they didn't plan for. So what now? Well, let's look at the damage. Prescott is suspended for one game, but the court of public opinion? That's still very much in session. And right now, the jury is deadlocked. One side sees Dak as the instigator, a polished villain who knew exactly how to bait a rookie into overreacting. The other side sees him as a competitor, who spit near, not on, someone, a man who smiled because he knew he was in Carter's head. And if Carter couldn't handle the pressure, that's not Dak's problem. That's just psychological warfare. Like it or not, it's part of the game. But here's the problem. Both sides have evidence. Both sides have a narrative. And in today's NFL, truth doesn't matter as much as which version sells more jerseys. And speaking of sales, yeah, let's talk money. The Cowboys-Eagles Open was supposed to be a ratings monster. It still pulled huge numbers. But you know what happened following week? Dip. Merch sales? Lower. Engagement? Down. Fan trust in the league's disciplinary process? Shaky. And you don't think sponsors are watching this? You don't think the networks are calling the league office asking, what the hell was that? Because a messy scandal is one thing, but confusing your audience? Making your stars look expendable? That's bad business. And that's what the scandal threatens. Not just a game, but the illusion of control. Now let's go back to Dak. Suspension served. Game missed. He returns. But it's different now. You can feel it. The crowd cheers, but there's a hesitation. Reporters ask him if he regrets it. He dodges. Or maybe he answers honestly. Either way, the narrative is cemented. Dak Prescott is no longer untouchable. And honestly, that might be the most dangerous thing of all. Because when a player realizes he's already been thrown under the bus by the league he's served loyally for nearly a decade, what reason does he have to keep being the good guy? What happens if Dak stops playing the media game? What happens if he gets a little colder, a little cockier, a little more real? We've seen it before. Players snapping back at press conferences, leaning into villain arcs. Play not just to win, but to prove a point. And if Dak goes there, if he stops caring what the league thinks, then buckle up. Because we might be witnessing the birth of an entirely new version of Prescott. Not corporate Dak. Not polished, smiling, soft-spoken Dak. But ruthless, unfiltered. I've got nothing left to lose Dak. And that's terrifying. For the league, for the media, and especially for every defense still on his schedule. So here we are. One moment, one spit, one smirk. And now, the NFL looks different. The Cowboys feel different. And Dak Prescott, he is different. And the season, it's only just begun. So what do you think? Was the suspension fair? Did Dak bait Carter? Or was it just bad timing caught on HD cameras and blasted the world? Is this the NFL protecting its image or punishing the wrong person? They thought a one-game suspension would quiet the noise, that the fans would rage, the media would bicker, and then, poof, it would all vanish in a puff of Monday Night Football graphics and red zone chaos. But this wasn't just a scandal. It was a crack in the shield. Because Dak Prescott isn't some random backup who got caught jawing with a rival. He's the face of the Dallas Cowboys. America's team, the walking embodiment of clean-cut leadership. If he could be suspended over something as ambiguous as a smirk and a spit, what does that say to every other player in the league? The message? You're only safe until the optics get messy. And now, players are watching their backs. Fans are watching the league. And every quarterback in the NFL is realizing that media training can't save you from a viral clip anymore. Let's talk locker rooms, because that's where the scandal is hitting hardest. Behind closed doors, every team's talking about it. Quietly, carefully, because no one wants to say too much on the record. But you can feel it in the tension, in the way guys are choosing their words just a little more carefully in post-game interviews, in the way everybody's reviewing film. Not to prep for next week's matchup, but to make sure they're not the next Dak. And for the Cowboys, the vibes are straight up fractured. There's no easy way to explain to a roster full of grown men why their QB got punished for something that never even earned a penalty flag in real time. No injury, no fight, just a camera, a split-second smirk, and now a suspension. How do you rally around that? How do you trust the league after that? And more importantly, how do you trust that the league won't do it again? Meanwhile, over in Philadelphia, the Eagles are thriving off the chaos. Their narrative? Crystal clear. Carter got caught. Prescott got exposed. End of story. And the fans? Oh, they're feasting. Memes, shirts, TikToks. They're monetizing the moment. Hashtag Spitgate is trending. The jokes are rolling in. And somehow, Carter's ejection has turned into a badge of honor. Because in Philly, if you got under the Cowboys' skin enough to break the golden boy, You're not the villain. You're a folk hero. And Jalen Carter? He's leaning in. No apology. No backtracking. Just that cold, calculated confidence that says, I know what I did, and I'd do it again. That's Philly football. Ugly, brutal, emotional, and they're winning the PR battle, while Dallas is still spinning. But here's where things get even messier. Because this isn't just about rivalry, or conduct, or the league trying to protect its image. This is about control. Control the narrative. Control the players. Control of how much personality is too much for a quarterback in today's league. Because let's be honest, the NFL loves marketable players until they stop being convenient. Dak has always been convenient, disciplined, respectful, well-spoken. He checked every box. But now he's unpredictable. Now he's controversial. Now he's dangerous. And not because of his arm, but because of his voice. Because if Dak decides to speak out, if he stops playing nice, if he starts calling out inconsistencies and double standards, that changes the whole game. And the league knows it, which is why you're already seeing whispers of time to move on. Analysts suddenly turning the page. PR-trained soundbites saying, we're focused on next week. Even Cowboys ownership giving vague answers about internal conversations. They're trying to smother the fire. But here's the thing. You can't PR your way out of a cultural shift. Because this controversy has struck a chord far deep in the field. Fans are tired. Players are wary. Media is polarized. And social platforms are thriving on the chaos. This is no longer a football story. It's a trust story. Can fans trust what they're seeing on the screen? Can players trust the league to protect them? Or will they be scapegoated the moment a clip goes viral? Can Dak trust that everything he's built won't be torn down the next time someone edits a sideline moment out of context? These are the questions no one at NFL HQ wants to answer. But they're not going away. Now let's pivot to Dak's return, because you better believe it's coming with a vengeance. After serving his suspension, Dak Prescott is walking back onto that field with the weight of perception strapped to his shoulders. And you know what? It might be the best thing that ever happened to him. Because this isn't 2020 anymore. Dak doesn't need to be the corporate quarterback. He needs to be unapologetic, unshaken, unfiltered. This is his moment to flip the script, to own the controversy, to wear it like armor, to let every touchdown feel like a statement, and every win feel like revenge. The league painted him as the villain? Fine, then let him be the villain. Because the NFL loves a redemption arc. Even when they're the ones who caused the fall in the first place. And let's not pretend this story ends anytime soon. Because every sideline interaction, every mic'd up moment, every handshake after a game, it's all going to be viewed through this lens now. The pressure? Immense. The expectations? Off the charts. But the potential? Oh! The potential is limitless. Because if Dak rises from this, if he leads the Cowboys deep into the playoffs, if he silences the doubters, reclaims a narrative, and proves that the scandal didn't break him, then we're not just looking at a redemption arc. We're looking at a legacy-defining moment. The scandal that made the man. So where does that leave us? Dak Prescott, suspended, scorned, scrutinized, but also sharpened. Because the NFL just turned one of its safest stars into something far more dangerous. Motivated. And if that doesn't scare the league, it should. Because spit dries, narratives change, and legends, they're forged in fire. And right now, Dak Prescott is walking through flames. A player gets suspended, fans rage for a day or two, and then we all move on to the next ridiculous thing. Some diva receiver deleting team photos off his Instagram, or a coach going viral for butchering clock management. But not this time. This time, the conversation won't die. Because it's not really about Dak anymore, is it? It's about what Dak represents. He was the model, the blueprint, the guy who always said the right things, took the blame when he shouldn't, and smiled through it all. He was the one who played by the rules, on the field and off it. He didn't throw teammates under the bus. He didn't whine to the media. He didn't start drama. And still, they came for him. Over a spit, over a smirk, over a moment that, without a slow-mo replay and a Twitter mob, would have been forgotten by the time the fourth quarter ended. So now, that quiet kid from Mississippi State, he's waking up. And what's brewing underneath that helmet now is not just resolve, it's rage. Not the kind that explodes, the kind that simmers, the kind that waits, that remembers, that shows up in the fourth quarter of a playoff game when the clock is ticking and the league's watching, praying he doesn't make them the story again. Because make no mistake, the league has a Dak problem now. You know what else they have? A perception problem. Because the fans, they're not stupid. They see the inconsistencies. They see how some players get away with worse because it doesn't fit the week's narrative. They see the selective enforcement, the soft discipline, the way stars are protected, until it's more profitable to let them fall. And let's be honest, the NFL isn't exactly known for moral clarity. They're known for ratings. So when the Dak incident turned into primetime drama, when Jason Kelce tweeted his cryptic little truth line in media outlets were drooling over the debate, you think the NFL didn't love that? They lived for it, until it backfired. Until Cowboys fans turned on the league. Until Dak's teammates started speaking up, subtly, cautiously, using phrases like unfortunate situation and not who Dak is, which is football code for this is BS, but I'm not trying to get fined. Until the sponsors started asking for statements. Until the sports talk cycle stopped being fun and started getting ugly. That's when the league realized they'd messed up. Because when you suspend a quarterback like Dak, you're not just taking him off the field. You're taking away the illusion of order, of fairness, of control. And once fans stop believing in that, the whole thing starts to crack. And look, we haven't even talked about how this mess is affecting other quarterbacks. Because if you think guys like Justin Fields, Bryce Young, or even Mahomes aren't watching this like a cautionary tale, think again. They're all watching their steps now, replaying their sideline behavior in their heads, asking themselves, could that be misinterpreted? Could I be next? And that's the truly dangerous part. Because what the league fails to understand is that fear doesn't build loyalty. It builds distance. It builds mistrust. And players? They talk. Group chats, DMs, locker room whispers. They're connecting the dots, seeing how fast the league will sell them out to keep the narrative clean. And when trust breaks, so does the brand. Meanwhile, Dak's sitting in this strange limbo. He's not speaking to the media, yet he's serving his suspension, doing the reps, keeping his head down. But everybody knows what's coming. Because if you know anything about Dak Prescott, it's this. He's not going to let this go. He's going to turn it into fuel, into a storyline, into a damn redemption arc if it kills him. And when he steps back onto that field, that first game back, it's not just going to be a performance. It's going to be a statement. Because he knows the cameras will be on him. He knows every handshake will be analyzed. He knows every touchdown will be framed as a response. And maybe that's exactly what he wants. Let them watch. Let them witness. Because Dak doesn't need to say a word, control the narrative now. All he has to do is win. And if he does, if the Cowboys rally, if they go on a tear, if Dak leads them through the fire, clean or dirty, smiling or stone-faced, that's not just a comeback. That's a rebranding. And not one crafted by PR teams. One carved out of spite, out of clarity. Because scandals like this don't just shake players. They shape them. This could be Dak's dark turn, his Jordan. And I took that personally moment, the shift from safe to savage. And if that's the path he chooses, the league better buckle up. Because they just turned a corporate darling into a quarterback with nothing to lose. Now, where does it all go from here? That's the million-dollar question. Maybe this fades. Maybe the next viral drama takes over, and Dak's suspension becomes footnote. But what if it doesn't? What if this moment sticks? What if this becomes a crack in the foundation that makes every player second-guess the league? What if this scandal becomes a rallying cry for player empowerment? Because it's not just about who's right or wrong anymore. It's about who gets to decide. Is it the refs? The cameras? The fans? The front office? Or is it the players? The ones who bleed, sweat, and take hits to the shield? That's the war bubbling under the scandal. And we're just seeing the beginning. So what now? You tell me. Was this a power play from the league? A scapegoating moment? A cultural overcorrection? Or was Dak reckless? Did he cross a line? Does any of it matter anymore? Because here's the truth. This isn't a story about spit. It's a story about control. And in a league built on violence, pride, and perception, control is the real MVP. So next time you see a player smile after play, spit near the sideline, or throw a look at an opponent, ask yourself, what are you really seeing? Because in 2025, even a glance can change everything.